Доброго дня всем нашим зрителям. Меня
Good
зовут
day, all our audience. My name is Ismailova. I am Zaurbekova. I am the head of BCPD, Bureau of Continuous Development. So the main role is to increase the human resource capacity, is to integrate best practices, global standards, and also to increase the qualification of our specialists in financial area, in the area of investments, and in financial services. Today, I'm going to be the moderator. Our experts today will share their knowledge, their experience on the topic of our session, investment literacy, main competencies, and tendencies in the field of finance. Our speakers today are the following ones: Arman Batayev, who is the Deputy Head of Investment Department, AIFC Business Connect. He will speak about the importance of financial literacy in our work and in our everyday life. Also, the next speaker is Sulu Zaurbekova, who is the head of HR department of Astana International Exchange. Sulu will share her expertise regarding HR, regarding the competencies in financial sphere for the successful business. And the next speaker will be Baimuldinova Sholpan, who is the chartered human resource specialist. She is the head of AFSA. Sholpan will tell about the specificities, about the attraction and retainment of the personnel in the financial authority. So let me give the floor to Arman Batayev, our first speaker. Thank you, Diля. Good day, everyone. My name is Arman Batayev. I am the head of Finmentor.tz. We are the school that teaches people financial and investment literacy, and I would like to speak about my vision regarding the investment and financial literacy. As lately, we are actively teaching the corporate employees to the financial literacy. The last 2 years were unique years. They were unique. For some people, these were the crisis times. For the other people, these times opened new opportunities, especially if we're speaking about professionals in financial area. Wall Street, for example, saw lots of young bankers who increased their annual compensation from 100 to 300,000. And it's quite high numbers. Some people maybe overestimated their priorities and they decided not to go to work after the COVID. And again, this opens new opportunities for our Kazakhstani professionals in financial area, especially when we're speaking about employees from big four companies who if they have, for example, 4 or 5 years of experience, and these people are now headhunted. The salaries increased now, and companies, Wall Street companies, can take most of people. And I know because many of my friends, they're leaving. And I also noticed that the main competencies, valuable competencies that values abroad or in some other international companies. So these competencies are the following: English knowledge, Excel document proficiency, the ability to make reports, and of course international certification and experience of work in international company. And BCPD assists and helps in this area to receive the certificate, to prepare. All these skills provide the opportunity to value yourself at the labor market and to accumulate money for your wealthy, let's say, retirement age. This year, many people withdraw their retirement contributions for their daily needs, and now everyone is responsible for their own pension contributions and they have to save. Many people now faced some challenges. We see some inflation sometimes, and we explain people how inflation can be dangerous for your pension savings because, again, the capital loses some of its indicators, and that's why the purchase capacity is disappearing. So what do we teach at our courses? Well, first of all, people need to have their own personal plan. This is kind of roadmap on achieving financial goals. We're speaking about budgeting as a method 50, 30, 20. We're teaching them to close their debt as a snowball method. We're using snowball method. And we are using gamification to teach all these skills. And just recently, I read a good article. It was the deputy of the chairman of Russian bank who told us that it's too late to help our retired people. People have to save for their retirement during their active lives. They do not have to rely on the state. And for many professionals, for many financial people, we would give the same recommendation. During your active life, you should think about the retirement age, your retirement. When we have these courses, we said that inflation is the main enemy of our savings. What can we do it? How we can hedge this event? Historically, the exchange stock and the shares were a very good hedge. They protected the capital. If inflation is rising, then the company has more profits, more incomes, and if you are the owner of these shares, you will increase your own capital as well. At our market, we had lots of significant changes over the last 2 years. I mean, the investment opportunities. These opportunities have been democratized now. If before you could start only with $10,000, and then I would say that now you can even have $5 or $6 and you can start your investing. This is thanks to some applications like from AIFC, for example, Tabbis exchange $6, or maybe Jusan Invest, and then where you can start even from $1 or 1,000 tenge. So there are lots of opportunities to invest in some collective funds, in some mutual funds. It is important to tell your employees about the opportunities of investment. Why? You know what we have noticed? We have taught more than 300 employees, then more than 2,000 people were taught online. And it doesn't matter if a person receives or earns 100, 200,000 or 1 million or 2 million. All of them do not have big savings. What it means? By increasing the salary, you will not cancel the stress and resentment about the salary. What you need to do first you need to teach your employees to manage adequately their own budget. Then when an employee can handle with his or her expenses using, for example, the method 50, 30, 20, so that different variables expenses would not increase more than 30%, and 20% should go to savings. And then the person starts to increase its income part. It's good that right now we have lots of opportunities for increasing the qualification. Everybody can do it online, and people even can work online now. As you see, now we are even speaking and presenting online. So the same is about work, especially financial people, they can work online.
And of course, I also wanted to tell you that if we look at things from the perspective of the employees as to who is the best employer, we can see the best performance is demonstrated by those companies that tie the pay to the performance. So especially oil and gas companies, they give the opportunities to their employees to buy stock, to buy the shares of this company. So you have the opportunity to get the share of the company. So if you have the choice between the companies, it could be the international company, transnational company with option programs. So you, by working hard, can get the best compensation, you can get the best pay, and also the personal financial plan is really important. You can estimate, you can plan how much money you need to save for your kids' education, for your retirement, for your pension. So you may start saving a certain part of your income starting from the very early age of your life, and thus you can think about retiring early, and you have a personal finance plan. It allows you to digitize your dreams and to put the specific timelines when your dreams become specific goals or materialize, and you can utilize different tools like mortgage, insurance, the educational deposits, capital markets, bonds, shares, stock, and etc. So you need to have a plan, and this plan should be digitized. It should be a digital plan. And in our school, we can help you with selecting the appropriate tools to reach the goals of your plan. If you have any questions, I am happy to answer them. Thank you, Arman. Right now, I don't have questions, but I think we can leave some time towards the end of our session. Your presentation and information was useful, and I am sure that some of our viewers, of our participants will find it very beneficial and useful. And now I would like to give the floor to our next speaker, Sulu Zaurbekova, who is an HR expert. Sulu, please, the floor is yours. Good afternoon, dear participants, dear listeners. I'm happy to welcome you. I would like to tell you about the internal practices that we have at AFSA in the field of competence development. So let me briefly tell you about the AIX. The Sana International Exchange was founded in 2017. We are the stock platform that allows company to attract, to raise a capital for its development needs. And on the other hand, it allows investors to invest their money, to make investment. And speaking of the company management, it was previously headed, chaired by Timothy Bennett, who is currently the chairman of the management board of the board of directors. Timothy has a vast experience in this field. Before coming to Kazakhstan, he headed the New Zealand Stock Exchange. He also worked as a consultant, and he was in charge of the Southeast Asian development. And this year, our colleague, Rinat Bekturov, was appointed as the new head. He has the vast experience in this field. He held managerial experience, and Rinat Bekturov is part of the presidential cadre reserve. We have a team of ambitious professionals with a very rich and diverse background. Most of our team members are Bolashak program graduates. We also have colleagues who joined us from other countries. We have very ambitious and very forward-looking young specialists, and the composition of our team is quite democratic. We believe in an open door principle, and we believe that it supports our people, our employees. We do everything that we can to develop this further, and as the time showed, the world has become very quickly changing. There are lots of new trends, and these trends also impacted our area, the HR. So we have this lifelong learning trend when we need to constantly educate ourselves, we need to constantly develop and train ourselves. And at AIX, we have a personal development plan, and as part of the annual appraisal, every staff member discusses his or her personal development plan with the line manager, what skills he or she should develop, what knowledge he or she should be aiming to obtain, and thus every year, based on this personal development plan, the employees learn new skills and get new knowledge. And the next trend that we can observe is a corporate online training. And the pandemic has made us realize and understand that it basically forced us to switch to an online working mode. Many things are currently done online, and our employees are trained online, virtually. They attend webinars and workshops virtually, which are held online, and our colleagues can be awarded a professional certification by attending programs online. So corporate online training also impacted us. And the next trend that we see is digital skills. In addition to trainings, seminars, and professional development, we try to develop the knowledge management concept when the employees share their knowledge, share their skills, and our colleagues, the retail investors team, conducts webinars through the Tabis application that we have launched at the AIX, or we also have live events with external experts at our official Instagram account. And once every 2 weeks, we hold town halls where our employees have an opportunity to share their knowledge both online and offline. And these trends that we have set allow us to develop our best practices using these tools. In addition to training and education, we try to develop our talent pool. We try to, for example, this year we had some managerial reshuffle, so we had a number of new vacancies, and before seeking the candidates externally, we first look at internally as to what candidates we have. For example, our colleague Elena Pak, our current head, previously worked as the head of communications team. Now she has been promoted to the head of apparatus. So our colleague had a chance to grow internally and basically reach the new level. The next colleague, Taras Musabekov, previously used to work as the head of the finance and economics department, and we offered him the financial director, and so he had a chance to grow. And the next another example is Raon Badashev, our previous senior procurement officer. He is now the head of the procurement officer, and Aliya Baimuldinova, previous, she is now the head of the stock management department. So we have a lot of successful internal promotion stories. And on our website, ax.kz, we have a lot of different success stories. Here, we wanted to tell you that we always give a chance to our colleagues to grow, to develop their skills, both horizontally and vertically. So whenever there is a vacancy, a new position open, we first look internally. We see if we have suitable candidates within our structure. If we don't have a suitable candidate, we then look for external candidates. We have an account in LinkedIn. We have our own page at the headhunter.kz website, and on our website aix.kz. In the careers section, you can see all the information about the current vacancies. And in addition to this information, we understand that we have certain positions that require certain level of experience or knowledge, and unfortunately we are not always able to fill in the vacancies in a timely fashion. So this year we launched the program, the internship program at the AEX. It started in June. We work closely with Nazarbayev University, KIMEP, KazGU, and with Bolashak graduates We have received a lot of applications, and our candidates had to go through three selection stages, and the successful finalists were offered paid internship, and we hope that some of these interns will be offered the full-time positions at the end of their internship. So this is indeed a very useful tool when we attract young, ambitious talents into our team. And all the information about our vacancies, internship programs, you can see, you can find it on our social media accounts, on our website. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much, Sulu, for your presentation. And you've told us why it's important to develop your employees to succeed in your business when you grow as a team. And now I would like to give the next floor to Sholpan Baimuldinova, who is the certified HR expert. Please, Sholpan, the floor is yours.
Добрый день, коллеги.
Dear colleagues, just a moment, I will share my screen. In my today's presentation, I would like to touch the topic of staff attraction and retention from the specific perspective of the financial regulator, which is AFSA, the Astana Financial Services Authority. My name is Sholpan Baimuldinova, and I am the HR supervisor of AFSA. Most companies today actively responding to a tough labor market, especially when it comes to tech talent. The financial sector is also no exception, and as more and more technologies is being injected into current processes, the financial organizations are also becoming more and more involved in digital transformation processes. To make this easier, companies have to adjust their talent management strategies, and they do it at an optimal cost. Understanding and prioritizing such challenges enables us to understand what we need to do. The global transformation in financing that we see and different complexity of processes leads to the new innovative tools and way of doing some financial operations. This makes financial markets more volatile, and there are necessities to new approaches to financial sector regulation as a whole. The active involvement of digital practices is a requirement of the time, and we are seeing this development of existing supervisory and regulatory practices in the form of new technologies and tools. Subtech, supervision tech, fintech, and regtech technologies have been developing so rapidly in recent years that KPMG experts foresee even a revolution in this area in the future. One of the main tasks of any company is to attract qualified, competitive, and proactive personnel. Naturally, each company deals with this problem in its own way, based on its goals. It could be long, medium, or short-term strategic goals. It depends on companies' available resources, and most importantly, it depends on the targeted competencies that successful candidates should possess. As for the strategic goals and available resources, it is more or less clear, but then the question arises when it comes to determining competencies. What competencies are specifically important for your business? More often, this problem is solved by describing business processes, creating detailed instructions for managers, executives. However, correctly described business processes should be performed by right people, and In contrast to the traditional system of assessment, when we just assess if it's knows or doesn't know, if it can or can't do something. Now, when we describe competencies, we operate only with the person's behavior in terms of if the person does it or doesn't do it. Being the financial regulator, AFSA is actively and constantly searching for competent specialists who can professionally approach the tasks set for the regulator. Those competencies that we are using in the search and recruitment process are quite flexible, and they are customized and tested before each new search. Many international organizations have already developed and use sets of competencies required for financial market professionals. They are usually quite general concepts, but nevertheless they can be used as basis set as technical competencies. They could be used to create your own competencies for your company, depending on the goals and goals of your company. The issue of staff retention became particularly acute in AFSA practice under condition of quarantine. The introduction of new personal practices, introduction of paperless office, pulse or status surveys, simulation-based training, online training on cybersecurity, courses for the employees have been implemented. And also, many subjects moved to the remote control. And we used the approach work from home if you can. So many aspects that affect and started to affect and are still affecting the company's operational life. The issues of cybersecurity came to the forefront, the issue of cloud solutions, the issue of efficient interaction between the team, and of course the issue of retaining the personnel. So the AFSA committee, taking into account the interest of staff and participants, did lots of efforts during the pandemic, so that not to retain but also to develop the personnel. We tried to change or to use the changed external environment to our advantage. We tried to combine different approaches in organizing our daily activities for our workforce. However, as financial regulation is a rather specific area, so the area of attraction and retention also has its own challenges that need to be understood and highlighted. The first challenge is the so-called skill gap, the gap in the skills. With increasing unemployment against the general background, employers are struggling to find qualified, competent staff, and we see it all the time. The lack of staff with developed core competencies when an employee is ready and start to work is the main threat for the company's growth, because when we do not have such people, this is a problem for us. The lack of competent staff is a serious problem, especially given the new regulatory requirements when we speak about financial area. So the solution could be to organize a constant, steady pool of pipeline of talents, and we need to focus on developing our own skilled staff. And if our own staff will be developed, and we can close this gap. Skills could be taught, but the attitudes and the values, corporate values, cannot be taught. So that's why we need to develop our staff so that to be able to cover all current and future needs. The second challenge is the shortage of mid-level professionals. We have a pool of entry-level specialists, fresh graduates. We have established middle-level workers who, due to their expertise and knowledge, are moving to different managerial positions to other organizations because there are new digital directions, new companies are rising at the market, and this leads to the situation that mid-level staff cannot be retained for quite a long time. And so that to find the solution, we need to look back and we need to look at some related industries and financial areas. For example, we have to search for some candidates and professionals whose main occupation is accounting, auditing, or other areas of financial services. The right competencies can be sought from candidates in all allied and related industry. We also need to invest in young staff development program so that quickly to promote them to the mid-career level and so that to get the desired workforce that we need. The third challenge is the retainment of millennials. As we are all working in this digital area, we are now under the impact of digital transformation that is happening now in almost all sphere, not only financial sphere, we understand that a large flow of millennials starting to come to work. This is a generation that are unstable when we speak about loyalty of company. Unlike their parents or grandparents, these people don't see a long tenure as a positive career progression. Instead, it's a stagnation for them. And there was a specific study of PwC that only 10% of millennials plan to stay with their current employees for quite a long time. So there is a problem that we cannot just escape. We need to solve it. It needs to be addressed. So we need just to ask these people, and then we need to decide what steps we can take to keep millennials on our team. We need to pay particular attention to the onboarding process for millennials, and if a company has a large number of millennials that are coming and leaving, young people of this generation, then we shall have plenty resources for their training. The fourth challenge that I would like to stop and to speak about is to create an attractive company culture. A lot of researches have been conducted on this topic, and we all understand that just few people will work for a company that has a poor and unattractive culture, or if there are some bad feedback from the former employees. Yes, that's true. The culture matters a lot, both for employees and employers. Creating an attractive corporate culture, ensuring the image of new employee, and it will provide you the inflow of your workforce and will provide the retention of existing employees. So the solution is to take an honest look at the current state of the company. You need to talk to your staff, you need to conduct research, study, and identify problem areas, and most importantly, you shall not try to solve all the problems at once. We have to do the prioritization. We need to understand what problems shall be addressed urgently, and then we go gradually and solve them. The fifth challenge is the candidatism. So nowadays, at today's market, candidates have lots of choices. If it's a good candidate, it means his choice will be expanded. Today's economy gives a lot of choice exactly to the candidate. Now candidates are very picky when they get job offers, and sometimes even when they accept such offer, the employer still has the risk of losing this candidate. And as soon as an attractive and new competencies or opportunities for the candidate, or we start the negotiation with wage, with some benefits packages, and sometimes it's like a battle in between the employers for the good employee. And this is the biggest challenge for us, especially for HR, who are trying to bring both sides, candidate and employer. We need to find some common things so that to close the deal, so that to sign this employment contract. And to find the solution for this problem, we need to understand what is most important for your staff. You need to provide transparent and clear channels of communication so that to be aware about the real needs of your staff. When you start to engage your employers through the constant dialogue, it will be the key to the fostering relationship with the company and with company's loyalty. And of course, understanding the life of your staff, the life of your employees, as soon as you understand it, you would know what to suggest to your candidate so that in this struggle, your company would become the most attractive choice for the employee. And what I wanted to say in my conclusion is that most importantly, is that financial service industry shall learn to adapt. Like other industries, we recognize that attracting and retaining of staff is now much more challenging than it was before. All these challenges that I have mentioned today are the basis for the development of new approaches to the things that are already understood. I mean, the skills and competencies, the needs or the specific experience in some-specific industries, the training opportunities. And yes, everything has changed, but we hope that these changes are for the better. So that is all from my side, and thank you so much for your attention. Thank you, Sholpan. Thank you for sharing your experience and your knowledge and expertise in this HR area and in financial service area. And thank you for telling us about the difficulties that the companies are facing now. I think that our audience received lots of useful information regarding professional development in financial investment area. I also would like to add that human resources, as my colleagues have just said, human resources is the main resource for any company, for any business. Therefore, for the efficient business and for the successful development of the company, we need to have the best employees and we need to have professionals. Companies are facing lots of issues regarding qualified staff, where to find this staff, how they can receive benefits and how we retain this staff. And there is a project that is suggesting services for the companies and for businesses. We are specializing at the solution of these problems of business. That is why we always have the competition to our full talent of the AFC. We make it so that to increase the human resource capacity for the AIFC and for financial investment region as a whole. Thank you so much, dear colleagues. We have several questions and we see them in our chat. Let me read them out. The first question is, hello, speaking about trends in the market, especially when we're speaking about hard skills, could you please specify 3 most relevant skills for skills of investment skills for the employees? So, Sulu, can this question be to you, please? I'm sorry, I cannot hear you, Sulu. Can you hear me now? Yes. Thank you very much for the question. Speaking about this direction, you know, the main hard skills that we usually pay attention at when we do the recruitment of specialists for the IX. So this is a method and knowledge about financial analysis, then the skill of reporting, or elaborating different reports, and the ability to work with a large volume of data. These are the main skills, hard skills, that are needed in this direction. If we're speaking about the work at the exchange markets, you know, such platforms, such companies require some specific skills and knowledge because the markets have their own business processes that require such skills. And besides these 3 main hard skills that I have just mentioned, there are some other areas like IT, R&T, regulations and compliance. And so these are some programming skills. As for the regulation and compliance, here we're speaking about jurisprudence, and I want to say that besides hard skills, we see that so that to build a career in a company, so that to have further development as a professional in its area, a person shall have not only hard skills, a person shall also develop soft skills, such skills like work team, then have to be agile and to be communicative. So these are my comments.
Следующий вопрос у нас.
The next question is, what should you look at when searching for candidates, for senior candidates, for executive candidates for investment company? Sholpan, would you be kind to answer this question? Yeah, thank you. It's quite an interesting question. The important thing when you do the recruiting is to find the suitable tool that you have such a vacancy. You need to prepare, so-called vacancy filling plan. And one of the things will be is identifying the range of competencies that are required for the specific position. But I want to say that the first thing is finding the instrument. For example, at AFSA, the key instrument is our professional, is our page in the LinkedIn network. And it's not headhunter website with its vast network of candidates. So I would like to recommend you to study those instruments, those tools that are available on our market to declare or to announce everyone about the vacancies that you have. And also there is a headhunting rule. When you have people you're interested in, you can always contact them directly. Because in our market, everyone really knows each other, who worked with whom, where and when. There is always someone who can recommend you the suitable candidate. And this word of mouth will help you a lot, because typically people give quite useful advice when helping to fill the vacancy. I fully agree with you that the referral system is more convenient and more effective system to fill in the vacancy. Thank you, Sholpan. The next question is,
население в Казахстане владеет навыками финансовой и инвестиционной грамотности. Я так полагаю, это вопрос к Арману. Подскажите, пожалуйста.
The next question is, currently, what share of the Kazakh population possesses the financial and investment literacy skills? Can you hear me? Can you confirm that you hear me? Okay, thank you. According to the data of OECD, 40% of our people are more or less familiar with financial literacy, but the National Bank statistics about the financial safety back, it tells us that just above 20% of our people have some deposits that will allow you to live a few months without a salary. So we are lagging behind in this regard from developed nations. That's it from me. Thank you. Another question. The growth of consumer lending in Kazakhstan tells us about the lack or presence of financial literacy skills in Kazakh people. No, it doesn't necessarily mean that the financial literacy deteriorates. It's not true. We can just talk about the disbalance and imperfection of our economy and our banking structure. For example, Kaspi Bank is now allows to buy almost anything by installments, like by 6 months installments or 3 months installments. You can buy almost anything, like home appliances, furniture, whatever you need. And if you have the interest rate, that is paid by those buying for cash or buying for installments. And people understand that if they buy, for example, a mobile phone, why do you have to pay 150,000 tenge? Right now, if you can divide this amount equally and pay by equal amounts within 6 months or other longer period. So maybe maybe there are now more people who spend like at least half of their monthly income on essential needs such as the food and grocery. And there is also a disbalance that Kaspi took advantage of. I hope I was able to
Спасибо
answer your
большое,
question.
Арман,
Thank you,
за такой
Arman,
подробный ответ.
for
И
such a
у нас еще
detailed
есть пару вопросов.
question. We have a
Шолпан, к
couple of
вам
other
обращаемся. Добрый
questions.
день,
Sholpan,
Шолпан.
this
Как
is a
правильно
question to you,
транслировать
Sholpan.
культуру компании новым
Hello, how
сотрудникам?
can you properly translate the company
Спасибо
culture
за вопрос.
to new
Когда мы говорим о том,
employees?
что у нас появляются в компании новые сотрудники,
When we talk about
периода
new
нужно всегда иметь инструменты онбординга,
employees,
адаптации.
you should have an onboarding instrument,
Лучше назначить
the
наставника для
adaptation.
работника, и это не обязательно должна быть
Ideally, you should have a mentor,
дополнительная работа
and it
какая-то,
does have to be additional paid
старший друг,
work.
который
It should
может
be
подсказать,
like a senior friend or older friend who can give you some advice,
куда нужно
who
и
can
кого
give you
нужно отправить в
basic
запрос, для того,
advice,
чтобы
like
получить
how,
информацию и
where do you
решить
need
уже проблему.
to send your application or your
Очень
documents,
хорошо.
or where can you
Второй
have a
момент, это
lunch, or where
поддержка HR,
to go to
она должна
get
быть всегда
something.
для новых
And
работников.
number two, there should always
Возвращаясь
be a
от адаптации
support
онбординга,
to
HR
new
может быть
employees.
таким основным связующим звеном
So
между
the
новым
HR
сотрудником и той
is
командой,
like
куда
a
он
link
отправится.
between
В противном
new
случае,
employee.
если у вас нет наставника,
In
то
any case, if you
курсы
don't have
или наставника на себя возьмет HR-специалист,
a
который будет
mentor,
новому
the HR
работнику решать
specialist will
наставить,
take up this
кто
role,
попадает.
who will monitor
И
and
еще хочу
mentor this
отметить,
new
что
employee. And also, I'd like
целом,
to
да,
tell
всегда
you
есть
that
какие-то периоды, которые мы
there
должны
are
отдавать
periods
на адаптацию. То есть мы должны понимать,
that
что чем период долгий, тем больше длится
we should
период.
allocate
То есть
for
у
adaptation.
топовых менеджеров он может доходить до 18 месяцев, когда
For
человек
top
входит в
managers, it
систему,
could take up to
начинает
18
полностью изучать
months
и полностью
to
полная
familiarize
проникновение в
and get
компьютер
used to a new
для
environment, a
человека
new
может
system.
произойти даже через год-полтора. Если мы
And
говорим
in some cases, it
по-английски, да, то есть
may
самый
extend to one and a
первый
half
ряд
year.
это 3 месяца, вот
The
как мы
first
говорим,
line
остальные 2 года.
of
Это
employees,
тот период,
it's
который
like
нужно
it's a 3
постоянно
months.
контролировать
So within this period,
работников, да,
you
контролировать
have
не
to
так, что
constantly
сотрудник занимается, а в
monitor
плане того,
your
чем
new
тебе нужно
employees,
помочь,
but not in
чтобы
terms of
ты еще более успешно добился. Потому что у
monitoring in a
каждого
sense like
работника
checking
свой
what they are
собственный
doing,
этап,
but
который
in the
ему
sense
нужно
that
достаточно уже
maybe giving
наработать
some
за счет
advice
введения
if
в
they need
специальности.
any help or
И, как
if they have
правило,
any questions.
когда
And
есть
typically,
либо
when
наставник, либо HR-специалист, который
you
оказывает
have
поддержку,
a
вопросы
mentor or HR
по
specialist
новых
who
работникам
provides
приходят
support to
достаточно
new
редко. И
employees,
если люди
uh,
будут открыты к
if
тому, чтобы
these people
постоянно
are
быть
open
готовыми прийти на помощь и
and
регулярно
ready
отвечать на
uh,
какие-то базовые вопросы по
to
работе, то
assist
тогда процесс
in any
адаптации
given
будет
moment,
очень успешным.
then the
Из тех
adaptation
целей,
process
которые
will be
предусматриваются,
smooth.
это
And I'm not
мотивировать
talking right
со
now
стороны
about
непосредственно лайн-менеджера, да, который является
like mentoring or
руководителем. Это
supervising
тот человек, который будет делать
by
задание вот новому
your
работнику.
line manager.
Что нужно делать? Устанавливать план на тот же испытательный период. И
What line manager does is
мы говорим именно о той поддержке, которая
draws the plan
это
and
хорошо
monitors its
облегчает процесс
implementation. I'm
внедрения
talking about
в
the
новую
easing
компанию.
the
То есть
process
помимо
of adaptation
вот этих
in a
жестких
new
показателей, которые
company.
должен выполнить
In
за
addition
этот испытательный
to
период, мы должна
strict
быть поддержка со стороны
indicators that should
руководителя.
be completed, there should be
Если это
support
действительно стальная
from your
поддержка со стороны HR-специалиста.
mentor or
И для этого
from your
одна из базовых
HR
правил, которые
specialist.
должен знать и следовать, это know your business.
So
HR-специалист
it's
должен
a know
понимать,
your
чем
business
занимается
rule. All
компания,
specialists should
бюджет
understand
и из
what your
чего она
company
выполняет
does,
прибыль.
what
Здесь это
how it makes it money,
Спасибо
and so
большое,
on.
Шолпан, за
I
такой
hope I answered
информативный
your
ответ. Я
question.
думаю,
Thank you for such
человек, который
a
задал
detailed
вопрос, он
and
получил
informative
очень полный ответ.
answer. I hope
Вот еще один вопрос, последний,
the
тоже
audience enjoyed
связанный
it.
с
And
навыками.
here we have a
Какие навыки
last
необходимо развивать в
question
первую очередь
about the
для
skills.
заполнения
So the
скилл-сет,
next question, the
чтобы
final
стать
question is,
привлекательным
what are the
кандидатом на рынке
skills
труда?
that need to be developed
Сулу, можно вам задать этот
first,
вопрос непосредственно?
first of all, to fill the skills gap, to become an attractive candidate on the labor market? Sholpan, can you answer this question, please? Yes, of course. Yes, if you look from the candidate's perspective, who is searching for a vacancy and considering different companies, the candidate should read the job description carefully. Typically, the HR departments of all companies, including us, they list the job descriptions in a detailed way and requirements for hard skills and soft skills, requirements related to the experience. So it all depends on the vacancy. To tell what skills are needed to fill in the gap is quite hard because it all depends on the vacancy for a specific position. Of course, when you look for a job, you need to read the job description carefully because there could be some candidates that could be desperate when they look for work. They can apply for every position, and of course, we as a HR professional don't have enough time to call and invite every single applicant. So, of course, what we do first is we do the screening. We read the resumes of our applicants. We see if they are suitable for the advertised positions. We look at their skills, we look at their experience, and if they are good enough, then we can invite them for an interview. Thank you, Sulu, for your detailed answer. We don't have any further questions, so I would like to thank our speakers for your views, knowledge, and experience. Our session is coming to its end. We were glad to see you at this session. The next webinar, innovation in finance, responsible investing in digital assets, and the World Investment Week at AIFC is to be continued. Thank you very much and stay tuned.